welcome back, wonderful people. Sorry about that little bit of a delay. My co-caster, the excitement of the rematch, it got too much and had to take a quick second, but they'll be joining me any second now as we head in towards sunset, and we can see a couple of switch-ups coming on through. Mosey going to be sticking with that veto, super exciting. The deadlock still online, deadlock online for both sides, and we talked about it from Salasun, was absolutely brutal in that first series, and I like that we're getting some switch-ups, and we said gonna be necessary if we want to see some innovation, if we want to see some change from the 13-3 that happened in the first time that these two teams clashed, the first matchup of the day, or the first set of matchups. But here we go. Into the pistol round we head. I'm liking the Sheriff from Medusa. They were firing on all cylinders in their match earlier, so exciting times, but it's time to get into the action. 10 seconds until barriers drop, and then we will be all guns are blazing until the very end, I have no doubt. Here we go, opening picks. Oh, it looks like there's going to be a little bit of a test. Mosey stunned immediately, but has a bodyguard. Actually doesn't even need the bodyguard. Going to find the pick, the cosmetic stun, one would say. But mid-control completely forsaken. There's going to be a little bit of a nosy here. Mochi going to see that there's a bit of a problem. Mesh going to go on over, removing the net. Mosey's going to find another pick there, and that's going to be a bit of a problem because they've got all of this control. Yeah, they've got all of this space, but they've not really got much manpower, firepower, should I say, to get this done with. Actually, another pick found on through, and this goes from bad to worse here. 2 versus 5. Going to give them a bit of space, but with sensors on both of these sites, they've got to try to find a way to get on through. The stun is going to get destroyed. Mochi with one. There is going to be a trade on Salasun, but immediately Avova is there to activate trades in the pistol round for Novo, who didn't necessarily have the great time on pistols across the day, but have found themselves a first and immediately getting themselves into the game. Now, very clean round from Novo. Need to replicate it. No spike going down, no nothing, which means that the buy here from S2G is going to consist of light shields on Salasun and the Sheriff on Argia. Whether they can get that to do much work. Nobody going to be spotted in the corner there, but early util's going to give the information. Mosey gonna have a little bit of a look here. Immediately falls back though. Does not want to catch the smoke and destroy the utility there. Gives them the opportunity to execute a little bit more cleanly, but unfortunately Medusa has that Marshal online and ready for the first already, and that is going to be the call for them. Just a back away here. Gonna decide to head elsewhere. A little bit of a conga. Actually, they leave to head elsewhere. They've decided to switch on back. No, forward, back, forward, back. Little indecision going on here. Drone going to come on over, forces them away. And actually, they're not going to get spotted. Maybe a little bit of faux information to go on. But Mosey's ever diligent. Ooh, Ryota, got to be careful. Gun back out just in time. They crunch on down. Medusa with 1, Ryota with 2, and that's going to shut them down. And Zeno, we talked about them being the last player alive in so many situations last map. It seems the history has not only repeated itself, but it is hurting. And Novo with a second round flawlessly, not a player dropping, and only, realistically, 1 player taking much damage. Already putting themselves in good stead to correct the wrongs of history and find themselves a victory here, or at least something better than 13-3. Third round, gun's going to be online. Bonus round here for Novo, so they going to be working with what they have. They didn't lose any weapons, so nothing realistically they can justify buying up here. They're just going to have to get it done with this, but it'll be good money in the back pocket, saved for a rainy day, perhaps. Aussie going to go and join over. They know that they've let mid kind of run amok for a while, but they're closing in on this. They want to get them trapped here. Fights going on, pushing out A here. Rainsa, oh, Delay ready for the fight on the other side of the smoke. Argia gets tagged and spotted, has to just fall on back. Funneling over towards A here. Fault line is going to cause Avova just to have to leave this alone. Leroy Sane with the first Avova just teleporting out to safety. Actually going to regain vision here, and that's going to be the site remaining pretty stable. They've not really capitalized on this opportunity to hit a site, but hoping that they've drawn enough attention away, they're going to pivot, turn on heel and run towards B, where Mosey's got all of the utility in the world set up, and now actually they've realized the plan pretty early on here. Scepter active, should they so desire to try and force this one, stop that spike going down. Unfortunately, we have to plant safe. Retake comes on through, and S2G, they were particularly fallible to a good retake earlier today. Sane forced off the angle. Oh!
This is definitely an interesting start, both for me and my internet and this game. Novo up 2-0. Switching the composition we asked for, and this is exactly why we wanted to see it. The forward pressure on the choke. Four players standing strong against Maid, and they obliterate S2G again!
I mean, you said that you wanted a little bit of a switch up of composition, a little bit of switch up of pace. How's this for style?
I mean, I asked for double senti, we got it. I didn't expect Mochi, I'm guessing that's who's on the deadlock, to match them blow for blow, though. Like, how do you fight a deadlock that was insane against you and went 22-6 on map, or on the last Sunset? You fight them with another deadlock. And S2G, as a result, calling a quick timeout. Now, okay, if you are just tuning into the broadcast, right, Affinity, give me a synopsis on what I missed about the pistol in the follow-up round. Was it close? Was it really, like, stompy? And the score right now is 3-0.
It was not particularly close. It was not particularly close. The B site was on lockdown. Mid-control, they were allowed all of the control in the world that they ever could have wanted, but couldn't really find much beyond that. And the reads from Novo have been really good. They've been really quick at rotating on over, having just enough aggression to pick up on any sound cues, or to not pick up on any sound cues and to be able to adjust accordingly. So realistically, all things considered, looking very good for Novo, and already tied up the number of rounds they got in this, well, against this team earlier on this very map. So already, worst case scenario, they've tied with themselves, but that would be a really, really bad scenario. That would require them to lose 13 rounds in a row here. So they've set themselves up really nicely. They've done a lot of economic damage here as well, because they destroyed that first buy round. So it's just going to be the Sheriffs and a single stinger coming into this one.
All right, well, I mean, STG has some steam behind them even on the eco, but Molesy shuts down the high gear. You know, take it back to park real quick, and in the meantime, you can see the players trying to redeposit themselves in the space just lost by their Neon. No contest either. Like Novo, just kind of waiting reactively. They don't want to waltz into any of these eco fights, except for Medusia might not have a choice. And I mean, now you don't have a choice between life and death, at least. Molesy now rotating back over, just trying to track if they in fact were trying to go Boba. They're trying to end A. Molesy keeps the lid. That's not good. That's spike down. And another player about to peek in the open. Oh no. Are we gonna get another Molesy ace? Is that what I'm gonna see here? Or alright, Boba, are you gonna seal his ace maybe?
I think it's too early. If Molesy manages to get on over and find the fourth, I think they'll try and bait for the ace again, which you love to see. And, you know, there's still lots on the line for this tournament, but the fact that it's a little bit more chaotic, it's a little bit free-form, has meant that teams have had a little bit more fun with it. And no complaints there from me, but that, as you said, spike goes down the worst possible position.
I think it was a questionable decision to fight Spawn, right? You would have had a sight with a NOVO alone main. Obviously, they don't know that, but even then, like, what were you hoping to achieve? You're doing your one kill rifle there and Spawn.
Shot down.
Alright, Xena, I asked you to step up between maps, but 10 seconds and a Sheriff 4K to clutch. Fortunately, although 2K is flashy, does not get the job done, and well, Novo maybe scratched a little. It won't leave any scars on this record. Still 4-0 at the moment.
I think it's a question that we had a little bit of Xena, is that Xena was left in so many situations alone in the maps that we've seen. But that raises a little bit of question. And I hate to play bad cop. I despise playing bad cop. But in my mind, if you're left as the sole player in so many rounds, maybe you need to be getting your name in a little bit earlier into the kill feed and into the round, right? If you're the last player left alive so consistently and having to clutch so consistently, maybe trying something that gets you involved a little bit sooner and play to the strengths there would help on an individual level for Xena.
True, true. I think that's a little bit of an interesting situation because it was just an eco attempt. And
True,
back to the spike in
Not the best round for
opposing
the point.
spawn. Yeah, but I do agree in some of these latter rounds, especially when, ironically, she's in that support position right on the Sova. Like when you're worried about deadlock sensors, when you're worried about info into the site. But speaking of info, look at how deep the deadlock is. Look at the line the Neon is on. They are almost certain that this is going to be an A follow-through, and that drone only solidified things. So that's why you have the 3-stack here. That's why you have the Interceptor, I presume, ready to go at a moment's notice as soon as elbow contact is made, likely from this elevated position from Avova. This is an insanely strong setup here on the A site.
It is, and so much info over
The
towards B.
Evolution,
They
too.
can just put all of it. Yeah, Evolution's online. Hasn't had anything really to do or say just yet, but I mean, with Annihilation online, we could see another, you know, get down situation, jumping in front of teammates if it comes on through. And there it
speaking of
is,
jumping down.
Interceptor goes on through. It's going to make it so difficult for them to push onto this site, and actually difficulty they've had. But unfortunately, Mosey goes down, and that means that Annihilation is ready and raring to go, but there's no one to use it on right now. They've taken the site, and actually, Novo just waiting for that to come off of line. Mochi gets one immediately traded, however. Now 2 versus 3. They're making no attempt to keep themselves quiet, no attempt to hide themselves here. Salason just waiting for the opportunity to swing. Fast lanes come on through. Peek on out. Ryota's going to find one. Ryota gets another. Ryota finds a little bit more, and that's it. The triple kill to secure themselves a 5th round, all the time in the world, and then some for the defuse. And it looked so perfect. They managed to deal with all of the major heavy hitters on this site, but alas, it still wasn't a match for Novo.
I'm lifting my jaw up off the floor. If we're comparing initiators, I mean, Ryota to Xena, right? We talked about being in those kind of interesting, tricky situations. Ryota just delivered, right? An insane 3K clutch. So nicely done. Even Mochi hit his backside. You can see that's what the 2 players that were still rotating were waiting on, right? Giving her that opportunity. This fast lane as well. Kind of reminds me of how they were playing around the bind Viper wall really brilliantly, too. So that was an insane clutch to get things flawless. Not anticipated in any regard after they dismantled that A-hold, right? I mean, they realized, okay, maybe A is easier to get on than we thought, or at least I can fake it until they break it. Juicia, in the meantime. Again, another deep B line. We've seen this previously. Has the sonic sensor to get away from if they're trying to high gear it away. So there's options here.
They are, and there's a little bit of a dimension towards this lean. I'm assuming over towards B it will go. They showed a lot of presence. Rolling Thunder to give them the space. Unfortunately, Mochi completely unaffected, and that's going to be the issue. The Hunter's Fury traps them in that far corner. And now there's so much to be done. Barrier Mesh is just going to go on out. That's going to stop them retrieving the spike, and this gets catastrophic quick.
You still have the operator even deeper now on the B line. At this point, yeah, you have to fight into the veto utility. So Ryota has support in this situation. Even has a Vova, who I'm guessing still has a Paranoia in his back pocket. Maybe. And that should be, I was gonna say, a guaranteed trade. At least it's a lot of damage for the time being. And I mean, that wall, it's transparent, it's see-through, but seemingly so is S2G's attack side right now on Sunset.
6 and 0, right. I know it's crass to do. I know it's too early to call, but are we seeing a 13-3 in the other direction?
I thought you were gonna say 13-0.
Oh god, no, I'm not. I'm stupid. I'm not that bad though. Don't worry, I promise. But I mean, if this keeps up,
they've already used 1 timeout. This is
and this is not going to be a good buy, so it's going to be 7-0 probably. You don't want to jinx it. There's still opportunity for this to be,
I'm
you know,
feeling 13-4, 13-5 territory unless something drastically changes right now.
And it'll
like
have to
2
be
this
next
half,
gun round.
3
Yeah.
half, maybe the pistol. Anyways, hey, we've seen some really like proactive plays on these ecos. Like look back to like, oh, if they found the kill on Demolzi, right? Majusia there, like a completely different round. So I've liked the idea. It's something I've always liked from S2G, even over on their bind. I feel like they are one that can change things up really fast, and they learn from their mistakes really, really fast. But seeing them like this, a little stale, you know, down 0-6 with not like a solve. I think they might have picked this being a little overconfident coming into it, just knowing how they steamrolled this team on the last time. And now that they're meeting them toe to toe, blow for blow, I mean, they're struggling here just a little bit. Sorry, it's
yep. And they keep trying to push and poke towards A, but they're not being given anything. They're being denied. They're being scanned by the recon pretty quickly. So then they're shuffled over towards B, where they know the setup is immense. There is just util upon util holding this, and they've got to try slowly pick away at this. And they've got a slight issue right now. Players tucked in backside, and there's Mochi peeking out for the first. In a bit of a sticky situation now, trapped in that corner, but Annihilation to come on through. Not gonna find anyone somehow, but it doesn't matter because the guns have found all the picks instead. And we said needed something special. This semi-force by Eco is not gonna really be the answer. They find 2 kills, and I guess that'll have to be enough for them coming into this. But I want to see the replay. I want to see how this Annihilation missed.
I think it was supposed to bounce, and I just don't think it bounced for whatever reason.
Yeah.
It was supposed to grab the person in the cubby, and it just didn't. But outside of that, I'm really impressed as S2G take their second time out with how Novo is able to utilize this utility really well, just zoning wise, right? It pushed them all into that corner, it pushed them onto the line of Mochi, and she just swings and obliterates with the better weaponry. It's very familiar to how they had market control, right, off that Net Hunter's Fury combination. Just less flashy, less, I feel like, decisive in the ult department, but it's still just as effective and really just limiting the option of S2G, limiting the escape from S2G. And that's where it's an eco round, so again, I understand the, like, just W key it and see what happens, see if we get lucky on some of these shots, which they got some trades in, but I think we've got to see that kind of slower, methodical approach, which isn't, I feel like, what S2G thrives in. Even on Bind, again, they were really good at, okay, exec, get out of these sites. They almost were never stopped on an exec reminder. Like, I need to see that, like, performance report where it's like, okay, how many of the 12 rounds did they get the spike down? It had to be upwards of 12. It's closer to that, for sure. And here, I mean, I wasn't here for the pistol or the follow-up round. I mean, they've gotten the spike down, what, since I've gotten here? Once?
Yeah,
Twice?
it hasn't been the
Twice.
focal point. It's not really been something they've been able to do. Getting onto site has actually proved very difficult for them. Because by the time that they get on site, half the team has been decimated. And again, here they are. They're struggling to get onto site, even with the Hunter's Fury. Oh, Juicia gets one. Ooh, they don't clear Leroy. That's a little bit of a problem. Avova needs to be the one to step up, but a double down there. Leroy can continue taking space. That smoke's gonna fade, and Mosey has to be careful not to give away their life. Gonna try and get them out of this corner. They line up, but actually ends up in a 2 versus 1. Leroy fighting, still hasn't managed to get that spike on down here. Tapping away, trying to bait out, isolate these jewels. Isolated fights, you shall not receive there. Trying to escape, even escape has been blocked. Luckily, wall fading has been a blessing.
Do they know? They got the timing. It seems like they have the scent and are tracking it hand in hand. Joint hunters. Moldy taking first contact. The double back not in time either from Reezy or Leroy Sane. And as a result, Novo 8-0. Okay, if this ends, okay, at what point do I become a 13-0 believer? Because you were believing in a 13-3.
I'm a
you said
Copium
we're
fan.
crazy. I think, I'm gonna say if it's 10-0, 10-0. No, because I feel like the last round tendencies are so strong. It's usually safe for the last round. You know what? I'll call it. If they get 11 rounds this half.
11.
If they get to 11,
you know what? I like that
think
you're
it's gonna be
skeptical. Because it's quite nice, you know, like balance here is I'm big on the copium. You're big on the being realistic.
Look at them. They're supporting each other and their IRL well-being, if not in game. Looks like we may have a little bit of a tech pause going on. We'll get that sorted out. But hey, I mean, I will say a breather at a time like this when you're down 0-8, not a terrible thing to have happen. Eco round as well, so things are again going to be super quick. May be facing some interference from Mother Nature. I had some Mother Nature happen this morning.
I was gonna say, I kind of lied a little bit about where you were. I said that the excitement got to you and you needed to go take a lie down. I'm sorry I lied about you. I didn't know if you were going to be back, so I was like, what can I get away with?
Guys. This is the perfect time for story time of how my morning went, guys. So it's it's been a huge storm going on. It's raining, it's hailing here a little bit. Not too intensively. That's why my internet went kaput probably, but it came back pretty quick, you know, shout out. But I went to get coffee this morning, and trying to balance an umbrella and coffee and getting out of a car, not a great combination. I had to take 2 showers this morning because I spilled coffee all over myself, guys. So yeah, stay safe. Mother Nature is a force to be reckoned with. We'll put it that way.
Yeah. I mean, I'm quite lucky that I live in the UK, which is like the most non-committal country for extreme weather. Like, we don't get earthquakes, and we don't really get too many major storms, and we don't get, you know, tornadoes. It's kind of, I'm sat here and I'm like, we're just kind of bored. We just get rain, and it's kind of sad.
Yeah, I feel like here where I'm in northern Georgia, for context, for any of the fellow Americans out there. It's in the southeast of the U.S. We're like in that sweet spot where we're not north enough to get a lot of snow, or like south enough to get a lot of hurricanes, but we do get like decent rain, and that rain apparently today had hands. So, but speaking of having hands, Novo, they are the storm to be reckoned with right now as we get some readies up, and we're probably going to resume the streak of dominance here looking at the buys. But, I mean, I feel like, okay, out of all of the options we listed in the pre-show of what was going to happen here, I don't think any of us expected it to be one-sided towards Novo.
No. we
said they were heating up. We said like they were heating up, you know. We said like, yeah, S2G had to sit back. They might have like cooled off a little bit, but this also, I think I have just gotten to the center of it. Do you see what I'm seeing at the very bottom of the scoreboard?
I
0 and 8.
am.
Didn't we say that you can't and 2 and 8? We literally said you cannot rely upon players like Cellison, like Agia, to drop 30+ kills like Agia did on Bind, or Cellison to go 22 and 6. And this is what happens when they aren't in peak form. It's not sustainable. There's your, what did you call it? A cheat word or something like that?
Buzzword. It's one of those marketing words, you know, that they use, and it's like most of the time they don't mean anything and they're flashy. But you know, I'm sticking with this one. I'm trying to make it a thing. I don't think it ever will be, but you gotta try sometimes, you know. It's like fetch, you know. Yeah. You're not gonna make fetch happen. It does look that we've got the timer back in the clear. It's ticking away, and now back into the server we go. Back into the action. Will the reign of dominance continue? We'll find out. Argia. Oh, straight away. And even though blinded, still managed to find it with the information gathered by the team. And now they've carved themselves a path. We talked about how few times we've seen the spike actually get planted. Now they have the chance to do so. Xena wanting to have a little bit of a look early. Doesn't really want to overcommit to this peak, especially knowing the danger that might lurk on the other side here.
Spike planted.
Ooh. Spike gets planted, but Morsy's found the equalizer.
Oh, I like the zoning here with the wall. Oh, I like the setup, and now they're getting antsy. They're getting desperate to find fights, and they're not gonna win. Oh no. They're the best of Rolling Thunder! But look, they have popped the evolution! He's not... Guys, that's them not realizing they're playing against a Vito. That is like prime Vito. They're like, oh, they're both stunned. I'm gonna swing. I'm gonna commit. And he's just there like, yeah, guess what? It's now not just as the Breeze Stun cosmetic now. It's inconsequential.
And we talked about this when Vito got announced, and we were all like, this is going to be crazy. A lot of people don't realize the muscle memory of Rolling Thunder. You know they're both there. There's no way that they both won't tagged, but sometimes you forget in the moment that that's not going to mean everything anymore. Yeah. It's the same with the kill contracts as well, is that you're going to suddenly have but I fired it off where I know that there's people. If it does in fact like work, that we've theorized that if you're the first person and you are in that, you know, evolution mode, it's not going to bring anyone. Suddenly all of this muscle memory goes down the drain.
Also, think about the ISO information-wise too. Sorry, this is me going on a tangent. You might think that there's nobody there too. I have to test. We need an ISO to test this now. I'm going to be thinking about it all day. But for now, all S2G is thinking about is getting onto this B side once again, fighting Mochi. And Mochi, I do like this call. Net it, wait for the rotates, go for a reflood here, and trust Novo to hold down the A side. And looks like S2G has other plans. This might be the beginning of their first round on the board.
It has to be, surely. Medusa can't even fight that angle. It's going to get swung by 3 people. Don't line up, and there it is. There's a dink, but that's not going to matter. Avova, this is done. This is out of your hands. You're going to have to concede that first round, but you've got an 8-round buffer, so you're not exactly mad about it. Gun barrel spotted. Rainter, though, lovely adjustment. Manages to find it. A flawless round for their first. It's a statement, and that's the kind of round that you need after losing 9 in a row. That's the kind of round you need to get yourself back mentally in the server and in the game.
Yeah, I mean, I will note, not to discredit what S2G just did, but the site itself was kind of given up by Novo, right? And it's more that S2G took that as an opportunity to fight for that backside boba control, to poke and prod, and no smokes and placement, that they could just win the outright gunfights, right? And it felt like Novo maybe was expecting them to just respect that space, and they didn't. So that's the S2G mentality that gets their point on the board. But also Novo, right? It felt like maybe we're playing to not to lose, right? You're trying to defend that 13-0 possibility, so you don't want to make any mistakes, and as a result, they overcorrected. And now, speaking of overcorrection, they're fighting forward, be made! But look at the relabel! Stuns are cosmetic.
Stuns are cosmetic. We've seen that a lot.
Veto or not. It doesn't matter.
It does not. And it doesn't. And they're forced away once again. This is the issue, is that they have been denied any ability to get onto the site very early on, bar last round, of course. Now they're going to go for mid again, and actually, we see Nova, they're just happy to let them have mid. There's no point in fighting it, no point in risking it. Too many angles, too out and open exposed. You've still got to get them towards a site eventually, so just sit on the extremities and play them safe. And, I mean, back towards B they go.
And they still have full veto util here, right? Like, it's up, ready to go. I'm wondering if we're going to see this cross get come into effect, right, with the paranoia combo, so you don't know he's steeping behind you. This would be absurd, and I really want to see it in action. Please, please. Avova, get the angle, get the paranoia, please. Oh, Annihilation can force them back. You have to respect that. You have to play the retake again.
Fury comes on out. Mosey's going to use it as an opportunity of chaos to go and distract. They all swing on out. Xena, the last left alive, finds two. He's going to tap the spike. Doesn't know how many more players are lurking, though. But only 12 seconds. It has to be now. The spray is so messy, and the second player pops their head on out. And time, your worst enemy, barring the Novo lineup here, who've just come along and absolutely wrecked you.
Yeah. Noah went from too passive to too aggressive there in the early round, right? And I feel like players like Reigns took advantage of that beautiful trade there over towards tiles, but it was this moment where they try to fight it into CT again. Nova this time understanding that, yeah, they're going to do this, picked up on that tendency from the last. And Xena, again, this clutch curse feels so bad for her, right? She makes headway on all of them, but they're unwinnable situations. 15 seconds left, a 1v4. Like, come on, she gets two. And that net was brutal for Mochi, and the team fight made it history. That's double digits, 10-1. Last round of the half. Let's see how it goes. Avova under early pressure.
Paranoia, just to stop themselves getting pushed too early on, is still trapped in the corner here, but is calling over reinforcements in the likes of Ryota. But they're going to check whether they are sure that there's somebody still here, because they very much acted like they forced off this angle, but there it is. Avova taken down. Ryota wants the trade, will not be allowed it, and actually the Hunter's Fury to chase them on down, desperately ducking and weaving around it, will be allowed to live, but will not be allowed to find any more picks off the back of it. Medusia doesn't even know where to begin with this, and now 5 versus 2, another round slips through the net, Spike goes down, and that is going to be it, done and dusted. Not really any way to get back into this. Mochi just holding the line, has to swing eventually, unfortunately not quite looking at Xena's head there, and Mozzie is not getting out of this alive one way or another. Lines up the first. Ooh, you see a world where it's a second, but it is not, and even then it is done. 10-2 is the half we have been given.
Sides.
Ooh, that is a rough one to say the least. When you talk about the pivotal pistol, I mean, it's as dire as it gets, but I do want to highlight some of the S2G players. I mean, players that we asked to step up while they're stars from maps, or best of ones, I should say, 1 and 2. Like the pressure forms diamonds, and I feel like we're seeing that out of Xeno. We're seeing that out of Rainsa here, which has been really, really cool to see. I mean, Xeno's 10-10, the only player positive on the team right now. Multi-kill after multi-kill. This game becomes so different if Agia and Celestine get online here. And so I'm just kind of waiting for that moment to come. And in the meantime, I mean, Mulzi, bro, this veto is scary. 19-7 after what we saw in the last map already.
Hiding, waiting for the early fight. Will not be given an early fight here. Gonna take a little bit of a foothold into mid, but it's non-committal. It's just to hold the space to allow them to rotate here. It's over towards B. There's a little bit of a lean, but I like that they haven't gone too aggressive here. They leave the waiting, hoping that maybe they can find something, and find something. Multi will. There's an opening pick. Actually, needs to be careful. There might be a trade. Argia waiting for this. Spots the gun barrel up top. It will punish another push there, but the drone to come around the corner instead is not what they were expecting, and now the rest of the team can move on over. Spike still leading over towards A, but they've got presence everywhere.
Oh,
No charges.
I mean, this kill, now the deadlock sensors are down. They're going to take DB control and basically just terraform this site. The later colonization of Spike. I mean, you try to fight forward, and even that's punished. Again, feels like they picked up on every tendency that we pointed out from them on Bind and have carried it into the perfect counter game plan
Planted.
for NOVO Nightingale. I mean, even here, they're not fighting until they absolutely have to or are set up well for it, right? Recon, Relay Bolt, all of this to handle one person, their hero player of Ajia. And in the meantime, when you think you're safe, there's a player right from your own spawn backstabbing in to Boba.
And now, Zeno, what can you really do? Answer nothing. Stand there and accept your fate as a Vova. The final pick, 11-2. Another pistol on Nova. They've been making these pistols pretty expensive. They've been getting the job done on them. And now, are you a believer in the 13-3 yet? Are you a believer? Because it's getting dangerously close to reality here.
I mean, it'll be what, 11-2, probably 12-2. Oh gosh, I guess it is, because the first rifle round for Novo. You know what? No. It's gonna be 13-2. You know why? Because they're gonna win their bonus. There we go. No Stinger Force except for Sailor-sun. Yeah, I'm gonna say 13-2. No, I just want to be different, you know. But we'll see. we'll see what comes true.
You got the other way now. You've got. I was like expecting the 13-4. You have ceased. I'm
13-2. With how they're playing right now, I can see a bonus in the cards. Just, I really can. S2G confidence looks shot. Players haven't come alive that we needed to see here. Rainsa, again. This set has a one way to play off of, but with this early paranoia investment and no follow-up, no Neon Ajia in position to scale off of it, like it feels like Nova is checking all the boxes for early round eco denial, right? They've gotten a lot of util out. They're being very thorough. We've Molsey. You want to scale up? I think that's a TP on the minimap set to go if need be. And yeah, there's no trades. It's all solo plays.
It is solo trades, solo fights, and unfortunately that is not the way you're going to win against the bulk of the team here. Now, they're actually just going to fall away. They're going to head mid instead. They've got all of the presence they need to rotate, but as you can see, it's going to be a race over towards that B site. And unfortunately, it looks like Novo might just get there ahead, but actually a little bit of utility in the way could give some cause for concern there. Locations get revealed, and it's going to be a bloodbath. Leroy with one, but a Vocal with the answer. Sailor-sun, the only stinger, and it's not got many bullets in. Needs to be quick, needs to be now. Does manage to line up too. 13 seconds, they could just deny this. They've got to try stop the spike plant. Matrusia needs to be it. The wrap there, the spike doesn't go down. Has one last opportunity trying to bait this out, though. 1 versus 1 has to be now. 3 seconds, and Rainsa finds it. It will be a third round, but it is a breath away from going the other way.
Running headshot with the Sheriff. That's the GC Sheriff for you. Beautiful job out of Rainsa. I mean, you realize time is low, but they're still pushing you, so if you flee, they're going to chase you down with the high gear. That was the best decision that could have been made here. And this is why Breach is still relevant in the meta. Like, even if you are, like, worried about, like, getting stunned, even if the stun is cosmetic, it'll still cause you to, like, scramble, right? To scatter. And that's exactly what happens. That normal, like, succinct, synchronized swinging out of Novo gets dismantled. And maybe I should have gone for the 13-4, because now, I mean, they're broke. This should be an S2G 4th, and then it'll be money and rifles for Nova to get back on track. But in the meantime, Novo back. This is just a defaulted start. We saw it on Haven. We're seeing it here on Sunset. We've yet to see S2G able to punish it off the get-go, but this time we're also seeing Ajia. They've sharpened the tip of the spear, going searching here with this outlaw. They come away in spades with the duelist of Novo.
Cover go.
Okay, Cover Go now is going to cause a little bit of a problem for Ryota. They're the one way just to keep hold of this entire leg of the map there. Drone goes over the top. Rainsa immediately the paranoia as an answer. Keeping it for now. Round the corner. Oh, it's a lovely shot. It's crispy, but it is punished by Avova. Now they push on forward slowly but surely. Rotations are far away, and there's going to be weapons picked on up here. Smoke's coming out for back sight, but Ajia has to be dealt with. Does, in fact, get dispatched of. They have a way on in here. breach the fault line. It's not going to find anyone.
down
Xena lining
A.
up the shots, but they're going one
That's Evolution.
for one. And
30
unfortunately, that's
seconds
playing out well for Nova. 30 seconds through the smoke. Leroy has been doing so much. And there it is, the double down. Mochi caught gun. Not even out. And a fourth round found now. 11-4 is where we have now managed to climb back to.
Yeah, that round was a little scary as it tipped back in Novo's favor here. Again, went from really clean, proactive team fights to then solo antics there, just being lost out in the open. This is also just unfortunate timing there over towards back calls, but all in all, that is the fourth. I am worried though now with weapons back in hand and this evolution paired up that this is going to be a dangerous entry tool. You can see it's popped off the rip, so any intel that might come in, not going to do much here on this B crunch. I'm a little worried the Deadlock solo main here. This market pressure has to land, and unfortunately with double stuns, Multi can run through both of them.
It stuns actually genuinely just cosmetic right now with the evolution, but unfortunately short-lived. Ryota and Avova though, they step on up. The plant's gonna come on through and that's gonna cause some problems. That breach spotted on out. And that's going to stall even further. Now waiting, Rainsa needs to find this here. Finds the first and actually falls over all of the attention, but not ready for, well, I was going to say Ryota, but it's Mochi that finds the pick. Both off back sight there, hoping desperately just to get this on. Bait them out into the fight there, but baits both of them and cannot deal with the double swing. 12-4, map point, series point, and a qualification point here for Novo.
Ooh, that was played beautifully. I mean, this trade, gorgeous. This double swing, just perfect. And that was the tipping point, I think, was those two backside kills. Because, again, that breach reclear utility from lane is been insane from what you were saying. And, I mean, even just the main swing. Rainsa did not expect it to play as main. And there weren't a very different situation. But, again, them being able to fall back, play off site. And now, I mean, look at this. Yeah, you have an annihilation, but you have a broken buy against this full weaponry. You're trying to rely again on this heroic player, Agio, who had a slow start just to get you closer to that finish line, but Nova's not going to give you the direct line of sight, the direct fight here, by any means.
No, this is going to have to be for tooth and nail. Argia, the first to go down. It is a harrowing omen. The canary to warn of impending doom here as Rainsa has to find something. He's going to switch over the weapons, but greedy hands in the cookie jar get slapped away. 3 versus 5. There is an annihilation online, but realistically, it is sweet nothing compared to what you have to go up against. One player defending the bastion of A site here and is taken down after only a pick. 2 versus 4.
Yeah.
Spike goes down,
Fortress.
players so far away.
Fortress falls and Nova sets up camp in its stead here. This is the difficulty with the Sentinel, a double Sentinel. As soon as you get the space, you set up shop, double sensors, a barrier mesh. There is no way to get past these gates.
Hold them to their
visibly.
My territory, my feeling the pin.
Immediate, the counter there, and it goes from bad to worse. Xena stunned as well. And now it's over. The only player left is in the cocoon. And 13-4, you have to just watch your hopes, your dreams of qualifying slowly reeled in. And there you have it. Novo. We said, can they do better? Can they do better than the 3-13 earlier? Well, yes, they can.